Hello guys and gals, and welcome to another episode of Unique Items. Today we're going to be taking a look at a trio of unique items, although it's really going to be focused around this one and specifically, which is the Ancient's Oath. And the reason why we have to bring out the other ones is because they're incidentally connected. Now, Ancient's Oath is a interesting, unique item. It's been in the game for a little while, but in 1.5.0 they overhauled it, and we're going to go over the changes. First off, they changed the implicit to 130% vulnerable damage, which is a pretty huge amount of additive bonus. On top of this, they also added on strength, so 198 to 270 strength bonus, and it has a really high amount of damage to close enemies, which is kind of crazy. It's a 207 to 270% damage to close enemies. On top of this, it also has a 12 to 16% cooldown reduction on it, which is pretty massive, and it has plus 6 to Steel Grasp. Steel Grasp, of course, being the ability that allows you to suck in the monsters and you know, obviously bring them closer to you because you want them to, you know, not be far away. And this allows you to obviously get things tighter, and as a melee character, you kind of want things to be tight. Little joke there from a movie. Tweet. You're looking very tweet. Why are you looking so tweet? That's Austin Powers, by the way. I can't remember which one that was from. It might have been the second one, The Spy Who Shagged Me. I can't even remember. With this particular item, though, you also get a special effect, which is Steel Grasp launches 2 additional chains, dealing 50% or up to 60% times increased damage from you for 5 seconds. So as you use it, you get a nice little damage bump, and that damage bump is going to stay on you for quite some time. And then finally, when it is gone, you know, you lose access to that damage bump, but it's nice to have access to the damage bump, which is decent. However, this particular item is not the end-all be-all of everything for Steel Grasp, because you can get more for Steel Grasp. So the second item that we need to go over is Third Blade. And Third Blade basically allows you to turn Steel Grasp into a core skill while also maintaining the Weapon Mastery moniker, which means that you can basically spam the ever-living crap out of it. So to give you an example, let's go ahead and put both of these items on, and I'm going to build some resource here real quick, and we're just going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and a free overpower in now. And as you can see, you could really, really spam the ever-living crap out of Steel Grasp. However, it doesn't stop there, because they added another unique item called the Unbroken Chain. And I will be doing a video on this later, but the special effect of the Unbroken Chain is that casting Steel Grasp reduces the cooldown of Iron's Maelstrom by up to 10 seconds. And if you're using Iron Maelstrom, which I'm not at this particular moment, but let's go ahead and put some points into it just so that we can show this off. So if I'm using Iron Maelstrom and I'm attacking, I can then start spamming this to reduce the cooldown of the ability if I have the amulet on. So, like, let's go ahead and take this amulet and we'll go ahead and put it on. And I'm going to reduce the cooldown of Iron Maelstrom. Now I can basically have Iron Maelstrom up with full-time efficiency by just simply spamming Steel Grasp over and over and over again. And doesn't really take a whole lot to be able to bring that cooldown down. Even with the crappy Unbroken Chain that I currently have at a 5 seconds, which I think I got 2 that are both 5 seconds, irony, I can still bring the cooldown of Iron Maelstrom to basically 0 with relative ease. And this pretty much means that if you were utilizing, say, Ancient's Oath, the Unbroken Chain, and Third Blade, you could potentially not only turn Steel Grasp into a core skill that you could utilize with utmost efficiency, but you could also pretty much maintain Iron Maelstrom with 100% uptime, pretty much. I mean, you're going to get 30% increased critical strike chance and 40% times increased critical strike damage to Iron Maelstrom. Dealing direct damage also after swapping weapons, or you don't really need that one. But it makes monsters bleed. It does tons of damage. You could potentially build for ultimate damage with this particular build if you wanted to. You don't have to use this particular item, but you can.
Mr. Goody Two Shoes, Mr. Goody Two Shoes. Ginger Evil Mentor here. Why bother farming when you can go to MMOEXP.com and simply purchase your items in gold? GGM would have you farm the items. What a pathetic being. Use code GEM Ginger Evil Mentor for 6% off your entire purchase. And don't tell Ginger Gaming Mentor that I was here.
Another interesting thing about utilizing the third blade with the Ancient's Oath is that you're going to get, obviously, a really nice Steel Grasp, but Steel Grasp is also going to cost resource at this point, which means that you could potentially use it with things like Banished Lords to burn resource for free overpowers. You could also potentially utilize it to obviously pull in everything around you as quickly as humanly possible. I mean, the sheer amount of these that I could potentially spam is kind of insane. It's a very interesting indeed, and I don't know if I might have to sit here and like theorycraft at some point a like Steel Grasp build utilizing, say, Ancient's Oath, along with some other interesting stuff, because obviously the 2 additional chains and the 60% multiplier being permanently active is certainly not a bad thing, combined with the fact that I can spam the ability and pull everything in constantly also doesn't seem like a bad thing either. The third blade, I think, is definitely a very interesting addition to the game, which has made a lot of these older uniques like Overkill, Fields of Crimson, and Ancient's Oath seem a lot more interesting than they were before. I think the only one that doesn't really, I'm not really sure if it would work. I'd have to try and theorycraft one out, which is the Rupture build on the Fields of Crimson. And I didn't even really talk about it on the Fields of Crimson video because, quite honestly, like I'm not entirely sure that you could really set Rupture up to be a main ability. I don't know. Steel Grasp and Deathblow definitely can, but Rupture is an odd one that does require other abilities to dish out bleeding damage to then pull that bleeding damage and then apply that bleeding damage as targets, and it's a whole thing. Ancient's Oath also has a special flavor text, which is weapons wielded by the fiercest warriors often catch the eye of the ancient spirits. If the wielder is worthy, the spirits may bless the steel with their strength. Gertie Oxen Tribe Forge Master. If you're looking to obtain yourself a Ancient's Oath, we do have some that you can take a look at here over on Diablo 4.life. Just gonna close it off some of my windows real quick. I've got like 18 calculators open too. It's hilarious. Over here on Diablo 4.life, if you click on Tools and Target Farming Uniques, you can very easily just select yourself an Ancient's Oath, and you can see that it drops from Good Core A and Beast in the Ice. All in all, I do think that Ancient's Oath is a good weapon, but it does have some fierce competition in things like the Grandfather. It also takes up a 2-handed weapon slot, which means it has to be able to put out that same kind of damage multiplier. Now, thankfully, a 60% damage multiplier is nice, but the main problem is that you can't really utilize Steel Grasp as often as you might like to get that 60 times multiplier. However, with the addition of the third blade, that 60 times multiplier would be active permanently, so it would be in more direct competition with some other aspects that you could put in that slot. As always, I do appreciate you guys and gals joining me for these fun videos, even when we're just talking about the Ancient's Oath. And as always, hit that like button and the subscribe button if you enjoy the content, and keep watching.